Albert Einstein is remembered as the greatest scientist of the 20th century, the man whose equation changed the world. But behind the image of the harmless genius with wild hair lies a far more complicated story. A man whose private diaries contained racist remarks, whose love life was filled with affairs, whose family relationships were troubled, and whose signature helped set the stage for the atomic bomb. Was Einstein really the humanitarian hero history remembers? Or was he a deeply flawed genius? Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in the German city of Ulm. As a child, he was far from the image many people associate with a genius. He spoke relatively late, not becoming fluent until around the age of 4 or 5. In school, his teachers often found him difficult to manage. He questioned authority, resisted rigid rules, and showed little interest in memorizing facts simply for the sake of exams. But what some saw as rebellion was actually curiosity. One day, when Einstein was still a young boy, his father gave him a simple pocket compass. To most children, it would have been nothing more than a fascinating toy. But Einstein couldn't stop thinking about it. No matter how he turned the compass, the needle always swung back to the same direction. Why? There was no visible force pushing it. No strings, no gears, nothing he could see. Yet something invisible was acting upon it. The mystery captivated him. The little compass did more than capture a boy's imagination. It ignited a lifelong quest to uncover the invisible laws of the universe. As Einstein entered adulthood, his life became intertwined with another brilliant mind, Mileva Marić. In the late 1890s, both were students at the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich. At a time when higher education was overwhelmingly dominated by men, Mileva stood out. She was one of the very few women studying physics and mathematics, a field that offered little encouragement to female scholars. The two quickly formed a close bond. They spent long hours discussing science, exchanging ideas, and studying together. Their intellectual connection gradually evolved into a romantic relationship. In 1903, Albert Einstein and Mileva Marić married, beginning a partnership that would shape some of the most important years of Einstein's life. Together, they had 3 children. But decades later, a question would emerge that continues to spark debate among historians. How much of an influence did Mileva have on Einstein's early scientific work? Some researchers point to letters exchanged between the couple, arguing that Mileva may have contributed to discussions surrounding Einstein's developing ideas. They suggest that her role in his intellectual life may have been greater than traditional accounts acknowledge. Others remain unconvinced. Most historians note that no surviving scientific manuscripts list Mileva as a co-author, and no direct evidence has emerged proving that she helped write Einstein's groundbreaking 1905 papers. As a result, the prevailing historical consensus continues to recognize Albert Einstein as the sole author of those revolutionary works. Albert Einstein left behind countless letters, notebooks, and scientific papers. Yet hidden among them was a mystery that remained buried for nearly a century. A mystery involving a child whose fate has never been conclusively explained. In 1902, a year before Albert Einstein and Mileva Marić were married, a child was born. For decades, almost nobody knew that child existed. There were no photographs, no public records that clearly traced her life, no mention in the stories that celebrated Einstein's rise to fame. It was as if this person had vanished from history. The secret only emerged in 1986, when previously unknown letters between Einstein and Mileva were discovered. Within those letters, historians found references to a child they had never accounted for. A daughter. Her name was Lieserl Einstein. The letters reveal that she was born in 1902. They also reveal something even more troubling. After September 1903, she disappears completely from the historical record. No verified documents explain what happened next. Some historians believe Lieserl died from scarlet fever during infancy. Others suggest she may have been adopted and raised under a different name. But despite decades of research, no definitive evidence has ever confirmed either possibility. And so, one of the most personal mysteries in Einstein's life remains unsolved. 1905 changed science forever. At the time, Albert Einstein was not a famous professor or celebrated scientist. He He was a patent clerk in Bern, Switzerland. Yet in a single year, he published 4 papers that would revolutionize physics. He explained Brownian motion, uncovered the photoelectric effect, introduced special relativity, and revealed the relationship between mass and energy. Then came the equation that would become synonymous with genius: E equals mc squared. With just a few symbols, Einstein showed that matter and energy are interchangeable, fundamentally changing humanity's understanding of the universe. The impact of his work was immense. Years later, Einstein would receive the 1921 Nobel Prize in Physics, awarded in 1922, not for relativity, but for his explanation of the photoelectric effect. While Einstein was transforming humanity's understanding of the universe, his personal life was becoming increasingly complicated. By the 1910s, his marriage to Mileva Marić was under immense strain. The intellectual partnership that had once brought them together was gradually giving way to distance, conflict, and resentment. One document in particular has drawn significant attention from historians. In 1914, Einstein presented Mileva with a written list of conditions for their continued cohabitation. Among other demands, he expected meals to be served regularly, his clothes to be maintained, and personal interactions to occur only when necessary. For many historians, the document offers a revealing glimpse into the deteriorating state of their relationship. The marriage would not survive. In 1919, Albert Einstein and Mileva Marić officially divorced after more than 15 years together. Just a few months later, Einstein married Elsa Einstein, his cousin, who had been a close presence in his life for years. But the stability of this new marriage was complicated by another reality. Private letters and historical records reveal that Einstein engaged in numerous extramarital relationships throughout much of his adult life. Some were brief, while others continued for extended periods. His correspondence suggests that these relationships were neither isolated incidents nor closely guarded secrets within his personal circle. The contrast was striking. Publicly, Einstein was becoming one of the most admired scientists on Earth, a symbol of intellect and human achievement. Privately, his relationships were often marked by tensions, contradictions, and choices that continue to fuel debate among historians today. Few chapters of Einstein's life are surrounded by more misunderstanding than his connection to the atomic bomb. Even today, many people believe that Albert Einstein helped build the weapon that devastated Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But the reality is far more complicated. Einstein never worked on the Manhattan Project. He was never involved in designing, testing, or building the atomic bomb. So why is his name so closely linked to it? The answer begins in 1939. As Nazi Germany expanded across Europe, several physicists feared that German scientists might be developing a powerful new weapon based on nuclear fission. One of those physicists was Leo Szilard. Concerned by the potential threat, Szilard drafted a letter to US President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The letter warned that Germany could be attempting to build atomic weapons and urged the United States to take the danger seriously. To ensure the warning would be heard, he sought the signature of the world's most famous scientist, Albert Einstein. Einstein agreed. The letter reached Roosevelt and helped draw attention to the strategic importance of nuclear research in the United States, research that would eventually contribute to the Manhattan Project. Years later, atomic bombs would be dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, killing hundreds of thousands of people and ushering in the nuclear age. Einstein was deeply troubled by the outcome. Although he had not participated in the bomb's creation, he reportedly came to view his decision to sign the 1939 letter as the one great mistake in my life. It was a painful irony. The scientist who helped reveal the immense energy hidden within matter became forever associated with one of the most destructive weapons ever created, even though he never built it. In 2018, Einstein's travel diaries from his journey through Asia and the Middle East in 1922 and 1923 were published in English, bringing renewed attention to comments that had remained largely unknown to the public. Within those private notes were derogatory descriptions of several groups he encountered during his travels, including Chinese people, Indians, and others. Many of the remarks reflected stereotypes and attitudes that modern readers widely regard as racist and xenophobic. The revelations sparked debate. How should we understand these writings? And what do they tell us about one of history's most celebrated figures? What makes the issue particularly complex is that these private comments stand in sharp contrast to positions Einstein would later take publicly. In the decades that followed, he became an outspoken critic of racism in the United States. He condemned segregation, supported civil rights causes, and described racism as a disease of white society. The contrast is difficult to ignore. On one hand, Einstein's private diaries reveal prejudiced views that are uncomfortable to read today. On the other, his later public actions placed him among the most prominent scientific voices opposing racial discrimination. Rather than providing a simple answer, the diaries offer a reminder that historical figures are often more complicated than the legends built around them. The deeper we look into Einstein's life, the more we encounter not just a scientific genius, but a flawed human being,